On this week's program, the future of Marvel television looks a whole lot brighter. Sony has its state of play, and GameStop's price surge goes up again with the help of McDonald's. All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at Pop Culture Cosmos, including our awesome, brand new, updated, and truly, truly active Twitch page, Twitch stream, Twitch channel. Please go ahead and do so by typing in Pop Culture Cosmos when you're on Twitch and following our tremendous amount of RPG games going on every day, plus the archives of our shows, archives of some of our best interviews. They're all going on that channel right now at Twitch. We also want to give a big thank you to Rob McCallum. Hey, great having you on board, my friend. Thanks for watching, and thanks so much. Continued success with Faking Filmation. Want to go ahead and give him, yes, it's a truly active Twitch stream. We're trying every day to put up some more and more content, but I want to give you a big shout out, Rob McCallum. Faking Filmation, it's not only appearing on video in some form or fashion, but there's a way that you can go ahead and get more involved in Faking Filmation. Head over to robmczob.com and you can find out how Faking Filmation can be in your life in the form of VHS tape. That's right. I saw that post today by you, my friend. Saw it. I caught it. So you can find out how to get one of Rob McCallum's latest hits that's on the way, Faking Filmation, right there, and also find out more about his Kickstarter. In fact, go ahead and listen to our interviews last week with Rob McCallum, and you can find out more about Faking Filmation. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. It's our man at Castle PCC on the Twitter and Instagram. It is a good man indeed. You got to check out what he's doing today. For everything that he does for the Pop Culture Cosmos, it is my good friend. It is Marcus de la Garza. And Marcus, I want to tell you a story before I go ahead and read more of Rob's comments. But I wanted to ask you this real quick. And tell you, Monday I was kind of worried about the show for this week because of the fact that, it was looking really slow. Monday was an absolutely dead day almost in pop culture. Then it blew up by Wednesday and Thursday, and oh my gosh, pop culture has taken over.
It has, man. I do want to say shout out to Rob. Thank you for being a part of the stream tonight, and thank you for everything you do for us, man. It's very much appreciated. PCC
I like that
family.
UMD. The UMD. The choice was VHS or UMD. But yes, I'm glad you chose VHS. The UMD is getting a little bit harder to find.
I do want to say, Pop Culture Cosmos family. I said I was going to do something, and I did it. I built a workbench, and I've got all my drone stuff. We're going to be building some things here in the next week or two. I have half my parts ordered. I'm thinking about doing a live stream while I build. Maybe we can put that on Twitch. I didn't talk to you about that before this moment, but folks, you're listening to this happen in real time.
You're cool with me on that. If people watch it, hey, not a problem. Not a problem with me on that right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, either on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. We're showing streams all over the place. Just check us out, social media, Pop Culture Cosmos. But we've got a tremendous show for you today, but I do want to go ahead and apologize. There is so much pop culture news out there, so much going on that we cannot cover it in all and in its entirety on today's program. There's just so much. So I've split it up between Marcus, and then if he wants to come back on the weekend, he may or may not. It's up to him. But Josh on the weekend and I are going to cover a ton more, including WandaVision Episode 8 in detail. So stay tuned for that on Monday's show. But there's a ton of stuff that we want to talk about, including Henry Cavill, Mass Effect, also as well the future of Paramount Plus as it goes live next week. So we're looking forward to go ahead and talk about it on Monday's show. It's a PCC exclusive. Well, thank you so much, my friend. We truly appreciate that shout out, Rob. And thank you so much for allowing us the exclusive info right there for the Pop Culture Cosmos. We cannot thank you enough as always. But we've got a great show to talk about for today because, again, there's so much news. Want to hit the hard topics. We're going to be able to have to cover them as best we can. Going to go ahead and talk about the stuff that Kevin Feige talked about at the latest TCAs. That's the Television Critics Awards. Also want to go ahead and talk about the big show heading to All Elite Wrestling. Is that something that's going to change the needle in any direction? Most people say no. Some people say yes. So we'll talk about that coming up as well. Sony State of Play. Any big announcements? There was one that caught our eye, so we'll talk about that. The Luca trailer came out for Disney Pixar's upcoming animated feature Luca. We'll talk about that. Netflix had one for Zack Snyder's other project, Army of the Dead. So we'll talk about that as well. Spider-Man dropped its title finally after trolling us for a couple days on it. They did finally drop the title, No Way Home. So we'll quickly talk about that. GameStop's, their stock prices surged again, but this time was it over ice cream? Really? We'll talk about that on the actual show as well. We'll talk about that on the program. Plus also as well, Valheim success. I briefly want to give that a mention because we were going to devote a lot more time to it, but I briefly want to go ahead and talk about that on the back end of the show. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. Before we go into Kevin Feige's comments real quick, my friend, I want to ask you this. McDonald's and Taco Bell, they're in the chicken sandwich wars now. They both introduced new chicken sandwiches that they're promoting like crazy. And these are two of the big guns, my friend, as far as in fast food here. Not only, exactly, fast food wars continue, but not only here in the States, but all over the world. McDonald's and Taco Bell are two big players. I want to hear your thoughts if they can make their headway through what has been dominant over the past year or so by Popeyes and Wendy's.
Yeah, Gerald, I remember literally a year ago, you were out there standing in line waiting for a Popeyes chicken sandwich. You were waiting, what, 2 hours, 3 hours almost?
It was over an hour and a half in line, actually, to get it made. Yes, that was right at the beginning of the craze for Popeyes chicken. I was in the middle of it, and boy, is it good.
Man, you have no problems just committing to these things. You know, you went hard at the McRib. You went hard at the chicken sandwich at Popeyes. You committed to the time, the time commitment for both of those, I'm sure was great. And, at this point, I just want to say, I think it's a little bit too much there for Popeyes, or Popeyes has too much of a head start right now for everybody else to get in the game this late, dude. It really feels like, unless you're going to come with a great product, and I'm not saying that McDonald's and their three chicken sandwiches that they're giving us, aren't great products. I'm just saying that, that Popeyes has a head start, man. That spicy chicken sandwich, or even the regular one, outstanding. We have the dividing line in our household. Jamie gets the spicy, I get the regular. I like to add my own hot sauce to it, but yeah, I think at this point Popeyes has the leg up, and I think they're going to continue killing it along with Chick-fil-A.
Absolutely. Well, Chick-fil-A, there. Okay, but you know what? I know that's blasphemy to some people. So Chick-fil-A, it's okay.
It's blasphemy to me, Gerald. We're fighting. Those are fighting words. Those are fighting words.
It depends on the sauce. Chick-fil-A, if you just have it straight, it's just to me. It's just okay. But you gotta put a lot of good stuff on it. So I'll give you that. I'm gonna give you that. But I got 90 minutes for chicken. WTF? And the race is never over in fast food. No, none of this is over when it concerns fast food. So you're gonna keep on seeing these type of variations within the whole fast food wars and battles going on. So look out for that, and go ahead and let us know about your thoughts on who has the best chicken sandwich, the best chicken sandwich meal. Is it going to be someone like Wendy's, someone like Popeyes, or do you like the new contenders right there that's out there in Taco Bell and McDonald's? Let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, let's get down to business, my friend, because there's a lot to talk about on today's program, including Kevin Feige at the recent Television Critics Awards. He was TCAs, basically, the Television Critics Association's, their annual conference where they talk about what's coming up. A lot of things get revealed. In fact, Paramount Plus revealed a ton of stuff that we're going to talk about on Monday. But before we do, I want to ask you this, my friend. Kevin Feige was there talking the future of Marvel and Marvel Television. There was one thing that really stood out to me, and that was the possibility of a lot of things that have been shelved, discontinued, canceled in the Netflix, and also previous ABC world, like Agent Carter.
Mm-hmm.
He said there's a very slight possibility, but it is a possibility they could be brought back to life based on consumer demand.
Yeah, I just want to go ahead and quote him directly here. He said, I think we probably could. I'm not sure. There's always rumors online about things reverting. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's not. I'm not exactly sure the contracts, Feige said, referencing the story, but perhaps someday. So, I mean, he left the door open for us. I don't know if there's any immediate, resumption here of some of these previous intellectual
outside
properties.
of Charlie Cox in Daredevil, who is most likely going to be making an appearance in Spider-Man 3 as Charlie Cox, the lawyer.
I'm okay with that, aren't you, though?
Yeah, I have no problems with that. He is the most popular of the Defenders that was on Netflix. That was actually the most popular show that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
I do also want to mention that the rights to Jessica Jones and the Punisher, which were the last two of the Defenders to have its rights held by Netflix, that has reverted back to Marvel. So they're free and clear on those. The only one I think that still has the rights, as far as any entanglement, are anything relating to Sony, aka Spider-Man, or also as well the Universal Hulk thingy where he can't star in his own movie under Marvel's banner.
Yeah, that one always blows my mind. I would love to take a deep dive into that together someday and really talk the nitty gritty on that contract. But just looking at the availability here, I think this is a great possibility here. Marvel has some outstanding IP. When you look at what happened with Netflix, yes, we've had our gripes about it, and I think you and I have talked a load of mess about it at times. When it comes to some of these TV shows, maybe not. I saw that look you just gave me.
Actually Rob McCallum saying that Punisher is more popular than Daredevil. I don't want to get into a debate right now. I'm just going to go by what Netflix numbers said, and because Daredevil was the first show, I think had Punisher been the first show, it would have been the most popular. But Daredevil was the most popular, and that's the one, Rob, I'm going to tell you right now that consumers are wanting the most and have the most fervor over right now is Daredevil of any of the Defenders. I'm not arguing with you on the comic book version. I'm just telling you about the Netflix one. But go ahead, Marcus.
No, I'm with you there. It's I think Punisher was way more popular on Netflix, but I don't know. It's flip a coin. You probably could have taken a look here and see, if you adjusted for, Daredevil was the first one out, blah, 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 blah. You could find a pretty stiff correlation there between, whatever it was, people loving, one show versus another. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Kevin Feige gave us what we kind of wanted to hear, right? Like, we wanted to hear that some of these IPs are going to be coming, these characters, some of these actors are going to be resuming. And the nice thing about all this is we're going to be coming back under the umbrella of Disney, where the writing has been a lot bit better, I would say. And we just know that the budgets are there to make these shows what they need to be.
Absolutely. As we're seeing for WandaVision, and if you get a chance to check out Variety, and especially their VIP section, they're showcasing how much there is of a demand for WandaVision, and that it's now actually, if you read or believe what Nielsen can track, because Nielsen doesn't get direct numbers from the actual streaming outlets, they do best guess scenarios and things of that nature. They're projecting right now that WandaVision is the most popular outlet right now for the year, passing Disney's Soul, that's on Disney's Plus, which was a huge success for them right around the Christmas holiday, and even into January, passing Cobra Kai and passing Bridgerton. To pass that with that kind of level of success is just crazy. So I'm very happy for WandaVision that it's achieving that level of success right now as the most watched show on streaming. And you could tell that just those comments that he makes just brings a whole lot of new perspective into life. Now, mind you, I know Kevin Feige already has everything mapped out as far as the way he wants to, but if there's enough demand for a Punisher, Rob McCallum, or if there's enough demand for a Daredevil or whatever, as far as the show is concerned, even bringing back Agent Carter for a season 3 or something like that, he'll do it. But he now has the options to go ahead and do so. And that makes it much more entertaining, and the possibilities could be endless for fans.
Let us know what you're thinking out there. I'm really looking forward to bringing some of these characters back. Gerald, I'm just of the mindset now that WandaVision can do no wrong. I know we have talked about this for a while, and we could go on this for another 30 minutes, but WandaVision really is turning things up here for me, and I'm really enjoying where we're at. Feige made some comments about even Pietro being cast and some of the things that were going on with that.
He also said, well, hold on. He also said that there's a possibility of extending some of these shows. Some of these shows will not just be a season one. And so, obviously the speculation turned to WandaVision. I don't think he was originally scoping out WandaVision as a 2 or more season type of show. I think it was only going to be a 1 season knockoff, but its success might just change all that out.
Yeah, and that's for me, the original vision should reign true. If you only saw this as a 1 season kind of thing, just keep it 1 season. Don't try and milk it for everything it's worth. There's something about the writing and just the artistry there that just keep it with whatever your original vision is, because I feel like when you start adapting things, that's when things go haywire. But I feel like we should maybe leave that one there and man, Gerald, I hate leaving topics like Marvel, because I feel like we could talk all night
about Marvel, indeed. But again, there's Loki that's been rumored to have possibly a season 2 in the future. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that could easily, I'm sure, continue that if it's perceived well enough. That could easily have a season 2. The what if scenario, the what if shows, that could also be a problem as well. That could also be another possibility as well. So we're looking forward to it. I know Rob McCallum says he's not entirely enthused about WandaVision. He said it's solid, but it's not all that. It does lead into Doctor Strange. Yes, Doctor Strange 2. It does lead into Spider-Man 3. It's going to have some elements there. But again, this could be a way for, if people want it, they might just go ahead and now have that possibility. I mean, he's leaving the door open. He's smart enough to say, you know what, the door is not closed, that being Kevin Feige. And that's what I appreciate, the fact that he's not closing any of these doors and saying outright no to anything at this point in time.
Hey, just want to say that I agree with Rob here. WandaVision is the lead into Doctor Strange, always has been. That's fine. Let it exist as a memorable 2-hero team up. Hey, man, I'm with you. Let's just end WandaVision at season 1, and let's start a new show and just give both those characters their own show.
I'm not saying otherwise. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm just saying it from the standpoint that Disney Plus might have other ideas. They like that viewership. They like that money. They like those subscriberships. They like the fact that they're now at or near or over 100 million subscribers at a much faster rate than any streaming service. So, you know what? WandaVision has been part of that early success in 2021. So, you know what? If that's what Disney Plus wants, Disney might ultimately just make the final decision on that. What are your thoughts? I'm not disagreeing, Rob. I didn't say I was disagreeing, but Disney might have other ideas. What are your thoughts out there on Kevin Feige's recent comments at the TCAs in regards to the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all the possibilities that are now expounded upon that he could go ahead and bring in from the Defenders, Agent Carter, and so much more? Anything is now a possibility. Are you excited even more so about the success of WandaVision leading into a whole realm of possibilities for the future of Marvel? We want to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Rob. Anyways, and we're back with the show. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here with Marcus de la Garza. I want to go ahead and ask you this, my friend, as we hit on a new topic, and that's All Elite Wrestling real quick. Just need to talk about it because the Big Show is their latest acquisition. He decided to, I guess, turn down an offer from the WWE, or decided not to continue with the WWE because his last appearance was last month. So I'm sure he obviously had the opportunity to continue with them. I don't hear of any bad blood, but I want to ask you this real quick. Is he a game changer? Is he someone that is going to get, outside of maybe a big pop in ratings for a week or two, is he someone that even if he gets back in the ring, even if he gets back into the ring, as he's talked about, is he going to be a game changer for All Elite Wrestling?
I don't know if he's going to be a game changer, but this is just indicative of their leadership right now. I mean, they just keep stacking talent. And I know, Big Show is not going to bring over a huge amount of people, but just the fact that they keep getting great wrestlers, should be enough to tell people that AEW is here to stay. Number one. Number two, they're challenging for that title of number one wrestling show on the air week after week. It's for me, it's, you look at what Big Show's been doing. He made his final appearance in January 4th of 2021, right? But apparently, they weren't able to come to any agreement when it comes to financial terms on his latest contract. And so that's part of why he walked. But we'll see what really comes out and over the next week or two. You know how these things go. He'll announce.
Well, it's what the WWE perceives him as. I mean, the man's in his 40s.
I get that. I get that.
They're asking, what can he do? What can he do at this point in time, right? I mean, how healthy is he? Yes, he's coming back into the ring, but is he going to be able to make a difference?
Well, all right. So this speaks to AEW's game plan, right? Like, so you and I have talked about over the last 2 or 3 months now about how AEW is looking at their Legends, right? Their Legends series, and bringing in these older names and trying to be a guiding light. Maybe even if you want to correlate it to something in football, bringing in a veteran presence in the locker room. You want to bring in somebody that knows what's going on, been there before, can help be that guiding leadership for the entire stock. So when it comes to keeping their stable in check and keeping their talent on their feet, on their toes, I think this is a great move, bringing in the big Show. This is somebody that's worked hard his entire life. It's I'm excited to see what comes of this. This is going to be a really good move for them.
Well, there's still going to be a lot to talk about here when there's upcoming great number of agreements that the WWE made. And obviously their move to Peacock, they're going to show WrestleMania exclusively on Peacock. Fastlane, you've heard about it's going to be on Peacock and the WWE Network, but how the WWE Network is shifting over to the Peacock Network. They've talked about also their deal that they just made for a lot of great biographies on the way with A&E. I mean, the possibilities are there for WWE to go ahead and build upon, their recent rating slump. But, with a Big Show, Big Show really wasn't part of their whole outfit at this point in time. He hasn't wrestled in several months. He was in the latter years of this previous decade. He wasn't really much of a factor for them. So I think this is a chance for him to get a fresh start and see if he can still make a difference.
1000% agree with you there, Gerald. This is Big Show's coming out party for part 2. This is him coming out and really saying, hey, I'm here. I'm a wrestler and I'm a force to be reckoned with. So let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens indeed. But do you think the Big Show, i.e. Paul Wight, will be a big factor for AEW going forward? Do you think it will make them even more competitive with the WWE? We want to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. My friend, there's still so much more to talk about on today's program, but I do want to go ahead and make sure everybody knows out there for today's show on the back half of the hour that we've got two great guests coming up. That is our annual Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees debate, where we talk about all the nominees and who we decide who's going to get in, who's going to be maybe overlooked, and who's also just got flat out snubbed. And I've got two great guests that are joining me as always, Kevin Eldridge from the Flopcast, and also as well Mike Faber from the ESO Network. They're joining us later on the program for part 1 of our conversation on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. Who's in, who's out, and who's got snubbed. We're going to discuss who we think should be in on our first chapter of that interview coming up on the back half of the show as well. All right, my friend, moving on to the latest Spider-Man name that's been given. All these home names have been thrown out there and tossed out there, and they were actually trolling a lot of people. I like the one that they trolled everyone on was Spider-Man Home Depot. I like that one the best. But the one that ultimately did come to pass, and they did finally admit that it's going to be this way. This is the title that's going to remain. It is Spider-Man No Way Home. It's not the title that got me, but was right under it. And when they showed you the title and the graphic, they said specifically will be in theaters only this Christmas. And I understand it's Sony, which really doesn't have an outfit to really just snap this on. I mean, they make deals with Netflix. I don't think Crackle is ever going to be something more than just this little side pet project that they have, that they've had forever now. And I don't think that they're just going to go ahead and slap it on Disney Plus, as well, right there for you. So it is coming out to theaters exclusively at this Christmas, but I want to hear your thoughts on Spider-Man's new title in Spider-Man 3, No Way Home.
Yeah, man, I think this is a great step in the right direction here. This is a, I feel like Spider-Man is heading in the right direction when it comes to the combination of Sony and Marvel. We've been trending upwards. And this is a kicker towards our next story with the GameStop stuff. But we've been trending in the right direction. We've been trending upwards when it comes to Spider-Man. We've been doing things the right way. We've finally found a cast of characters or a cast of actors that we really enjoy, that have done well, and we've just continued to grow it. Talking back to a few of the episodes we've done over the last few months, Jamie Foxx coming in as Electro, and we're bending some storylines here, as well as Alfred Molina with Octavius. So, I mean, this is an outstanding lineup. We've been talking about this on and off over the last few months. This is, to me, this is what I wanted to see. I don't know about you, Gerald. What about you?
This is something that I'm very interested in seeing when it comes to what's going on with No Way Home. Obviously, as we left Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man himself, Peter Parker, has been outed by a faked video by Mysterio, and he's now going to be on the run. And it's going to be a big situation for him, where you see the fact that he is going to be in hiding. He is going to be doing things that is not normally what we see Spider-Man do. Plus the fact that the multiverse is a real possibility, and all these different characters that we are going to see, like you were mentioning, could become a part of it, even if it's just for cameos or whatnot. So all these things and elements are throwing together. He's also been on social media saying that he just finished filming the biggest scene ever, the biggest action scene ever for superheroes, which, that's a lot. That covers a lot. I'm just going to say that there, if that's the case. But, it's just something that we're very excited for. I think it's going to expound on the Spider-Verse even more. Will this be the last time Tom Holland is going to be in a standalone Spider-Man? We'll wait and see. I don't think so. I think they will bring him back for at least one more, plus all the Marvel stuff that he's going to do in the MCU, plus anything on the side in the Spider-Verse, like maybe he'll do a cameo in Venom 2 or something like that.
We can only hope, right?
Yeah, we can only hope. I mean, there's going to be all those possibilities there, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Spider-Man No Way Home and how that relates to the whole story. I know he actually at some point in time gets, still is with Mary Jane and Ned there, because the pictures that they've shown from the set show them all together. And there's been leaked footage out there of him visiting MJ. So it's not like he's going to be hiding from his girlfriend or anything like that. So
no. Yeah. We still get some Zendaya action. That's all people need to be concerned with. That's it.
Yes. Outstanding actress. Truly, appreciate everything she does. And just it's going to be something very interesting for us to see how this develops and how it also shapes going forward things in the MCU. Could it help out for Doctor Strange 2? Could it help out for other stories in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in the Disney Marvel Cinematic Universe? Could it also at the same time, and which I'm sure it's going to, help develop other stories within the Spider-Verse? We're talking about Morbius, we're talking about Venom, we're talking about possibly Kraven the Hunter. We're talking about all these different scenarios that are out there. So, we want to hear your thoughts. When it comes to a new title for Spider-Man, what are your thoughts out there on Spider-Man No Way Home? Please share your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. My friend, before we hit the half-hour break, I wanted to go ahead and get your thoughts real quickly on GameStop. The price is going up and up again, all because the guy that you were talking about, the Chewy CEO that moved over to the GameStop board, he floats out there a picture on social media of a McDonald's ice cream cone, and then the stock took off from there. I mean, that's just crazy. It's a ice cream from McDonald's.
Yeah, Gerald, this is wild here. The only thing I've really come up with is apparently this man is just the walk-off home run hitter. He rolled into the first board meeting with 2 slides. It's a picture of a dog, then a picture of an ice cream cone, and said, "Let's go get some soft serve." We've got some other theories out here. We've got, the frog becoming or the tadpole becoming a frog. We've got all sorts of things here. Let's keep an eye on this GameStop stock. I was telling you before we went live that I really missed the boat yesterday. I literally was sitting at work. I looked at the stock and it was just like, I think I need to buy some. I think this is about to rebound. I really do. And I really missed that moment, and I should have capitalized on it. I'm sitting here wishing that I would have bought anything. But whatever. Hey, we're here for it. We're going to make a little bit of money eventually, and we'll go from there. This GameStop stock pop, hey, it's going to happen a second time. I'm hoping we see 800. Because if we see 800, we might see a nice short squeeze on what's going on. I'm not one that wants to see the market just totally inverted and see everything collapse, but I've always been a long fan of Team Chaos. So let's see what we can do as retail investors and go from there, man. It's time for the market to see a little bit of shakeup and go from there.
Well, we'll see what happens because it's going to be very interesting. I should have asked Josh if he repurchased any stock in the GameStop because remember, he's already profited once. He might just be apt to do it again.
I hope he is.
Well, we'll find out on Monday's show. I'll give him a quick shout out on that before as we're on the air on Monday. So that's definitely something that we can talk about. Plus all the things that we're going to be talking about on Monday. There's just so much. Again, a ton of stuff. Stay tuned for us on Monday's show because it's going to be another just back to back to back to back of nothing but pop culture news right there on Monday for the Pop Culture Cosmos. But we want to hear your thoughts. Have you invested again in GameStop after the price surge once again over McDonald's ice cream cone? We want to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, coming up next, it's Mike Faber and also Kevin Eldridge. Mike Faber from the ESO Network and Kevin Eldridge from the Flopcast. They're back for another year of talking about everything going on with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. Our first part of our conversation is going to be on today's show. That is going to be all about who we think, if we had to pick 5, who we think should be the next choices for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's coming up right after the break. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos, the PCC Multiverse. That's coming up next. The Luca trailer for Pixar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. Want to thank so much for the guys from the ESO Network, Kevin Eldridge and Mike Faber. Both great guys. Thank them so much for appearing on today's program. They will be back for part 2, where we talk about who ultimately will get in and also who got snubbed. We're going to talk about who got snubbed on the Monday episode for the nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That will be on the Monday show, the Pop Culture Cosmos. So look forward to that in our second part of our conversation with Mike Faber and also as well Kevin Eldridge of the ESO Network. But before we head on out, my friend, Marcus is back. And Marcus, did you get a chance to see Luca from Disney and Pixar? Obviously the style's there. I think it's based off an Italian village, an Italian story, things of that nature. And the kids that, look like kids on the outside, but then have something a little bit more secretive in mind, or actually secretive in body when they go and get splashed by water.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, this is for me, Gerald. This is going to be one of those movies it's highly stylized. We're going back to that classic Disney character. It's like a callback to my youth. We're seeing that kind of animation style that gives you that wholesome feeling. At the end of the day, it's almost a callback to Hercules or Tarzan or something to me. But when you start incorporating the water into it with Pixar, you start getting that Lilo and Stitch. You start getting anything really that Pixar has touched over the last 20 years now. It's weird to say almost 20 years. Actually, it's 20 years this year, right? 2001 was when they went wild.
I tell you what, when they bought them, it was in that range. So they made those type of purchases. And just to get everybody, if they haven't seen the trailer yet, it's these two young men, these two boys. I think on like an Italian village, if I can say that correctly, Italian village. Yep. And basically, the Italian village is just very against sea monsters or octopus or anything like that, and has very detailed descriptions of what they like to do to it: eat it, chop it up, kill it, anything of that nature. But these boys are actually I don't want to say sea monsters, but sea creatures by nature. When they hit water, or get splashed by water, or get touched by water, they turn back to their original form. And they don't want to show that to the people in the village because they would obviously be next day's lunch if that was the case. So yep. I want to hear your thoughts. Like you said, you talked about the stylized nature of it. I mean, for me, Pixar seems to have this blank check. And what they do with this blank check from Disney is create these stories and base it off of different cultures. I want to hear your thoughts on how they're able to go ahead and do that and do it so well, because it just seems like with Soul, with so many of these other great stories that they've told over the course of time, they just really seem to tap into these awesome parts of our world.
Yeah, man, it's one of those things. I think they've earned the right to do these things, right? They've come correct when we're talking about movies. They've always brought us superior products, and that alone tells me that they are worth the blank check that they get, right? Pixar's never. To me, Pixar's never really thrown, something that was really worth throwing in the trash can, or shown something that was worth throwing in the trash can. So I'm very excited by the prospect of this film. It's one of those things that for me that Pixar's just continuing their streak of home runs here, man. This is gonna. I don't want to say it's not going to revolutionize the film industry, because we've already done a lot of things that they're doing in this film, right? The characters, the animation style, even some of the shading and stuff we've seen in other Lilo and Stitch, we've seen in other Pixar movies. This is going to be one of those films, though, that I think is going to resonate with a lot of people, and we should see a lot of fun across the generations here. Whether it's the youthfulness, getting the kick out of the boys turning into octopi when they hit the water, or it's the older generation enjoying some of those older jokes or the adult jokes. This is going to be a great film, and I'm really looking forward to it, Gerald.
They just know how to tap into culture, and they do it so well. Yeah, and they do such a great job.
You look at what they did.
I have a friend that works at Pixar, and Mark, just tell you what, you guys are going to be doing it again. Just a great job, and looking forward to seeing it. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, look at what they did with Coco. I mean, that was a cultural. Yes. That was a cultural win.
Great movie.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was a cultural win. I still struggle to watch that movie just because the textures on the animation get me. I mean, I look at the textures on the animation for the hands and the face. It looks like I'm looking at my great grandmother. And dude, it's hard for me to watch that movie just because I end up crying halfway through the movie because I'm just lost in the animation and looking at the textures and everything. So.
Well, speaking of culture, we're going to touch on something as far as your background in culture at the very end of the show that I just popped in there. So if you get a chance out there, please check out on the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page. We have the link to the Luca trailer. If you want to go ahead and check it out, it is coming up here this year. Disney's Luca, or Disney Pixar's Luca. We hope you get a chance to check it out because we really think it's going to tell a great story, and another great job by Pixar. What are your thoughts out there on Luca? Please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Before we head on out, my friend, 3 quick things. Army of the Dead. Oh, Zack Snyder has not just got the Justice League up his sleeve. He's also got a Netflix movie coming up on the way here in a not too distant future. Army of the Dead, where it shows a ragtag crew of mercenaries trying to go ahead and steal some money from a casino in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. So I want to hear your thoughts on Army of the Dead.
Hey, man, this is going to be another Dave Bautista killer. I really enjoy Zack Snyder as a director, writer. This is going to be another great film to me personally. Dave Bautista, I think, was an outstanding success. We talked about it 2 weeks ago about how Kevin Feige said he took a risk on Dave Bautista, and not even him. He kind of just did the sign off on Dave, and I'm starting to see how everyone's realizing this was the best thing they could have done, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's an outstanding actor. He's got a lot of depth to him, even if he does look like just a meathead. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to this zombie outbreak. It's a classic Zack Snyder film. I'm guessing half of the cast of 300 is going to be in there. Half of them will be dead already by the time we get to them. I'm okay with that. I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's going to be on Netflix. So another Netflix original coming at us. You know, the quality of content is going to be great. It looks like it's going to be a 4K paradise, and that's all that matters to me.
Well, speaking of video games that we often talk about on the show, it's going to be so great to see, as we saw the hint that Josh and I will talk about on the Monday show, as far as Henry Cavill and his possible future in a certain game series that we love, as far as possibly even a television series or movie out of it. I'd love to see Dave Bautista, as something he has expressed to do, talk about playing Marcus Phoenix in a Gears of War movie. I'd love to see him in that. I think he would be great in that. I think that's a role that's best suited for his talents. But yes, Army of the Dead would be an awesome movie coming up here in a couple months that I don't mind seeing at all.
Little teaser for Monday. I just want to point out that we've got two actors that are really, 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 really engaged in video games, Dave Bautista and Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And, you know, man, I'm really hoping that they drive the envelope, or not, they drive the discussion here on what things should be looked at, you know, moving forward, because Henry Cavill killed it with Witcher. I'm hoping he's going to kill it moving forward. And Dave Bautista, man, like, it doesn't matter what he touches. I think he's outstanding, and I think he has the potential to become a big name alongside.
Well, not everything he touched turns to gold. That movie he did with the kid, he's a spy. The
I
kid's
laughed
spy,
at that, man. I laughed at it.
and it didn't do so well.
You didn't like it? Yeah, look,
so.
I admit it's not a great film. I laughed though, and that's all that matters to me. I laughed.
Fair enough,
you know,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Again, maybe he can rebound from that. But yeah, he should be fine. And he's now one of the bigger names in Hollywood, hopefully following in the footsteps of The Rock, as becoming a superstar from the pro wrestling match, from the pro wrestling ring to box office superstardom. That may be in the future for Mr. Dave Bautista. What are your thoughts out there on Army of the Dead? Let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Before we head on out, Valheim. I mean, I wanted to go ahead and do a deep dive into this, but we're not going to be able to have time on this week's show. Maybe we can do it on next week's show, but 4 million sold already. One of the top games on Steam. This survival game looks really fun to play, and it's really in-depth, and a lot of people are getting into it. I want to hear your thoughts real quick on Valheim.
Yeah, man, I haven't got a chance to play it yet. I've watched a lot of gameplay and a lot of guides on Valheim so far. But I'm looking forward to spending some time this weekend playing. Maybe we can hop on online, you know, let the people know what we're doing, see if anybody can join us, that kind of thing.
Or you might want to stream it.
I might want to stream it, man. We've got a Twitch channel, and I think our Twitch channel is waiting for some streams. So
always. With
that being said, let's take a look at some Valheim this weekend. And, you know, if you're interested, maybe we could stream it together.
Absolutely. We'll be we'll see if we can do that for you. But Valheim has been a big success, a game that was under the wire, that came out to a lot of critical acclaim, but also a lot of interesting things for as far as survival aspect. But the way it approaches this genre is really something that is to be admired, and a lot of people are out there are really getting into Valheim. So keep your eye on Valheim if that becomes the next big video game hit, because there's already getting off to a great start at 4 million copies sold, and I think 500,000 concurrent users earlier this week on Steam. So those are big numbers for a game getting off to one heck of a good start. What are your thoughts out there on Valheim? I like to say that. Valheim. Are you really getting into Valheim, or do you think you really want to go ahead and jump into the world of Valheim? Let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, we got through a good portion of the pop culture news today, my friend. And I also, again, want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Mike Faber, and also as well Kevin Eldridge of the ESO Network. They'll be back on the Monday show talking more about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. But before we head on out, my friend, I know you didn't want to say real quick, but I can always edit this out. But Blue Beetle was the reason why I wanted to go ahead and talk to you, because DC Films is their first Latino superhero movie. They just hired a director, Angel Manuel Soto, to go ahead and direct it. I just wanted to hear your thoughts before we head on out on Blue Beetle, if you wanted to go ahead and leave this in.
Yeah, but, I actually don't know a ton about Blue Beetle. I'm looking at the Wikipedia article now. Original Blue Beetle, Dan Garrett first appeared in Fox Comics Mystery Men Comics #1, August 1939. I'm looking forward to looking into this, doing a deep dive. Really learning some history here, and then going after the actual the content here. And I keep teasing that we're going to do all sorts of things on the stream here, but if when we get to this point where I feel like I'm comfortable, I would love to have an open conversation, open kind of forum, talk to the fans if they're interested, and maybe have some people give me some of the things that I'm not getting just based on reading Wikipedia and some of the content that I can get my hands on. So,
well, I think anything that leads to a different aspect of our culture, I think it's a step in the right direction. And the creation of this first Latino superhero movie for DC Films, I think it's a step in the right direction, because we've seen all the Batmans and the Supermans and the Wonder Womans and the traditional superheroes that they have at DC Films. It's nice to see them at least reaching into these steps, getting slow. I mean, they are always chasing Marvel, because Marvel seems to have a better beat on a lot of the stuff. But as far as Latino culture, I think both of them, both Marvel and DC, could do a lot more. And at least this is a small step in the right direction.
1,000% agree with you there, Gerald. I love seeing Latino culture being pulled into pop culture, period. And I'm hoping that we have some great success here, and DC maybe is going to use this as a turning point for them. So
let's hope that's the case, my friend. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be great to hear if Blue Beetle will become a success for DC Films. What are your thoughts on the first Latino-oriented superhero film for DC Films, Blue Beetle, that's now in production, got a director, and now it could be a possibility to be coming on the big screen or to streaming outlets, HBO Max perhaps, who knows? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a tremendous episode. I appreciate you keeping up with me, because there's been a ton of news. We had Rob McCallum coming on the show as far as his comments are concerned. It's been all over the place, but any last thoughts on the way out?
Last thoughts on the way out are just, be kind, be good to each other, and let's have another great week, folks. I know I only see you on Fridays, but this Friday, next Friday, let's have a great week. Let's have the best one yet, and let's go from there. And we'll have a conversation as a group. Hit me up on Twitter, on Instagram. Reach out to Gerald, whether it's on Facebook or Twitch or Twitter. And let us know what you're thinking, man. We do love having open dialogues, open conversations with folks. So come talk to us. Let's talk.
Absolutely, let's talk indeed. So for Marcus de la Garza, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great